Welcome everyone to week 1 of the Sangha Yoga home practice videos with me, Paul Fox, Director of Yoga at Sangha, and Chloe Wills, who is the Director of Nutrition at Sangha. She's going to be the person who's going to be modelling the practice, modelling the poses that you can follow along with. Now, Chloe's not been doing a lot of yoga practice lately. She's just going to show us her forward bend as it currently is. And over the next 4 weeks, we're going to see if we can make a difference to those hamstrings, and we'll see Chloe at the end of 4 weeks in a much deeper forward bend, and lots of other benefits as well. So week 1 we're calling body tour, and we're going to move systematically around the body. And in this first class, we're just going to mobilize everything, all your major joints and your major muscles. So I'm going to start by asking Chloe to come down onto the mat and just sit cross-legged, either on a yoga block or a cushion. And we always just take a few moments to sit and breathe before we start our yoga practice. Now, you might not do this with a gym class, but because yoga is a mindfulness practice and it's partly about just building up our awareness of our body and breath. So we just take a few moments to tune into the breath. And you can do this with the eyes closed, or if you don't want to close your eyes, just take your eyes forward and downcast. So noticing exactly how you're feeling right now and making a slightly stronger connection to your breath. And we're going to try and do all our breathing in and out through the nose. So just see if you can take some really nice, smooth inhales and exhales, feeling that the breath is smooth and slow and deep. But a lot of people have got illnesses and coughs and colds, so if you find your nose is blocked and you have to breathe in and out through the mouth, that's absolutely fine. And we just do that also in a very steady, smooth way. Lovely. So we're going to begin the class now, and I'm going to ask Chloe to lie on her back. And you might want to pop a blanket under the back of your head. Often people need a little bit of support under the back of the head so that their chin isn't higher than the forehead. And that means that you're mobilizing the body in a way that's not going to damage the neck. So we want the neck to be supported and nice and long. And then bring your knees in over the chest. Wrap the arms around the outside of the shins, and we're just going to rock from side to side for a moment. And as you rock from side to side, keeping the chin tucked in, just rolling the head the opposite way to the knees. So beginning to release the back with this little rocking motion, this gentle back massage. And the opposite movements of the head and the knees are also beginning to twist the spine. And then coming back to center, take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, draw the knees in towards the chest. And throughout these classes, we're going to be offering a kind of basic version of each practice and then a slightly more challenging one. And it's really up to you to listen to your body and just do the one that's going to suit you. So each time you exhale and you draw the knees in, you could, if you want to, also lift the head up towards the knees, doing a little bit of a sit-up action. And then as you inhale, take the head down and just let the arms straighten as the knees move away. And we'll do one more of those. Exhale, draw the knees in. And inhale, let the arms straighten. Perfect. And if the knees stay in over the chest, but you release the hands down onto the mat, palms down, and then keeping the knees together, do small circles, the knees going in the same direction. It's like you're tracing out the back of your pelvis. And as you do this, if you've got quite good core strength in your tummy muscles already, you can slowly make these circles a little bit wider. And as you circle the knees away from you, you'll feel your stomach muscles having to work just to hold the legs from falling away and the feet touching the floor. Fantastic. And then we'll do a couple of circles around in the other direction. And then next time the knees come in, we'll take one hand on each knee and we're going to separate the knees and do a little bit of hip opening. So one hand on each knee, and a bit like as if you were doing the breaststroke at the swimming pool, you're going to circle the arms as wide apart as you can and then draw them back and in. And we're just trying to create the biggest circles we can into both hip joints. And Chloe's doing this beautifully slowly, which is exactly how you want to do it. You want to do it slowly because you'll get a little bit more range of movement if you do it slowly, and also you'll get more feedback. So I want you to feel whether your hips feel stiff or whether they feel really open and fluid, and whether the right hip feels the same as the left hip, because often they vary a little bit. And then we'll do a couple of circles in the other direction. And then next time the knees come together, take the feet down, slide the feet straight, and just take a big long stretch. Take the arms overhead, push the heels away, pull the toes back, and using steady breath, but as many muscles as you can, really use your muscles of your body to stretch the body and make it as long as it can be. And this is just stretching out the spine. And if you're doing this practice in the afternoon or the evening, your spine will have undergone a lot of compression during the day, so it'll really help to stretch it out. Lovely. And then we're going to do a twist now. So we'll take the arms out at shoulder height. If you're a little bit tight for space, you could always bend the arms at the elbows a little bit. And then we're going to bend the knees and have the feet flat on the floor. And we'll start with the feet hip width apart. This is a really gentle twist, so this is suitable for most people and even those with some lower back problems. And as you breathe out, you're going to take the knees over to the right and roll the head to the left. And then each time you breathe in, you're going to bring the knees to center and the head to center, and then exhale, go to the other side with the head and the knees. So I know that Chloe can do a stronger twist than this, so next time she brings her knees to center, she's going to bring her knees and feet together, and this will just take her a little bit deeper into the twist. And it's really good if you can keep actively squeezing the thighs against each other as you move in and out of the twist, and it almost becomes like you are pivoting on one big foot, so the feet aren't sliding around so much. The squeezing together really helps with that. Lovely. And then the last variation on this, and this is really only for people who have no lower back issues, is to bring the knees slightly in over the chest so the feet are off the ground. And then as you exhale and take the knees over to the side, now you're using some of your core muscles and muscles of twisting movement to lower the weight of the legs to the floor. And what we'll do here is take the legs as far as they'll go and then just drop the feet down onto the floor at the end of the exhale to give you that little bit of extra twist. And every time you inhale, bringing the knees back in over the chest and then going to the other side. And quite often we just do this more as a kind of torso strengthening practice, and not just a twist. And if you're doing this, you'll surely feel all the muscles that you are working at the moment. That's great. And then the next time you come back to center, just draw the knees in over the chest, have a little rock to ease out of that practice. And then we're going to come up to kneeling on a blanket and do a little bit of shoulder release before we mobilize our spine. So for all these classes, all you really need, apart from your yoga mat, is a blanket, something to sit on, which could be a yoga block or a cushion, and a yoga belt, but a normal belt or a bathrobe tie or anything would do. So feel free to sit back onto the heels in a low kneeling position, and you can either have the feet at the back there untucked or tucked. So sometimes if you sit on the heels with the feet untucked, people get a bit of cramp and then they prefer to tuck the toes under, and other people find tucking the toes under is agony. So you make your own choice there. So let the arms hang beside the body and take the shoulders forwards and up as you breathe in, and back and down as you breathe out. We're just going to do a couple of these. Notice what you're sensing in your shoulders. We've mobilized the hips. We've done a little bit of stretching of the body. We've strengthened the core. And now we're mobilizing the shoulders, which are one of the most movable joints in the body. So this movement we're doing now is called the movements of the shoulder girdle, and it's the shoulder blade and the collarbone attaching to the center of your body that we're lifting and rotating. So a lot of upper back muscles and neck muscles, when they get tense, prevent this movement from being really soft and fluid. And then as you exhale, let the shoulders drop down, take the arms away from the body, palms up, bend the elbows and take the fingertips onto the top of the shoulders. And now we're going to circle the elbows, and this will also mobilize the shoulders and the shoulder girdle that we were just doing, but it's going to additionally get you moving your shoulder joint, so where the top of your arm is connecting to your shoulder. So this is a kind of double benefit movement. If this feels at all uncomfortable or tight, try to do this circling in a way that is not painful, that you're exploring and developing your flexibility. If it's really painful, things are just going to tighten up, so you want to avoid that. And then next time you breathe out, just let the arms release down, and we're going to come onto all fours. I'm going to get Chloe to just turn and face the narrow end of her mat, and actually we'll use the blanket to pad the knees for this. So the knees are really badly designed for weight bearing, so we tend to pad them whenever we're taking any weight through the joint. And then the knees are under the hips, the knees are hip width apart, the hands are slightly in front of the shoulders so that the wrist angle isn't too tight. And then you really want to feel that you're stretching your fingers and spreading your palms and trying to connect as much of your hand down to the mat as you can. Very nice. And we're looking for this that we're seeing in Chloe, a nice flat back, and then as she breathes in, she's going to just lift the head a little bit, tilt the pelvis, and try and create a back bend shape in her spine. And as she exhales, she's going to reverse that shape. She's going to tuck her tailbone under, tuck the chin in, and lift the middle part of the back up towards the ceiling. And just flowing with your breath, breathing in and breathing out. And I said this class was about mobilization, and this is probably the best value practice that we do, because as you do this cat stretch in and out with your breath, you are moving over 70 joints in the spine, which is quite incredible. And as you probably can feel in your own body, the most mobile parts of your spine are the neck and the lower back, but half the spine between those two areas, the thoracic spine where your ribs attach, that's the stiff part. So actually that is the area we want to focus on moving the most. So as you breathe in, feel that you're dropping that part of the spine down between the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, try to lift it up towards the ceiling. And you might, hopefully, just feel a little bit of release in that part of the back. And then on the next inhale, we're going to come back to neutral and then just slide the hips back towards the heels for a moment to take the weight off the wrists and the shoulders, and rest the forehead either down towards the mat or on the mat. And we're taking this resting position because some people have got less ability to take weight in the wrists and the shoulders than others. So anytime you need to release from a weight-bearing practice, this is the position you'll come into. Others might be ready to move on, so we are going to move on now into a little downward facing dog. So I'm going to bring Chloe back up to her cat position, but this time she's going to tuck the toes under. And as she exhales, take the head down and the hips up, and we'll keep the knees bent for this first experience of dog. So we're going to do a few breaths, and then come down and rest in between a couple of different dogs. So for this first dog, what we really want to feel is a lot of length between the wrists and the pelvis. So really stretching out the spine, keeping the spine nice and long, lifting the sit bones up towards the ceiling while at the same time pressing the hands down into the floor, and not worrying too much about the stretch in the back of the legs. We'll come on to that in a minute. And one last thing, try to breathe into your chest and keep the lower part of the tummy drawing in. So there's a little bit of a core strengthener as well. And then on the next inhale, take the knees back down. So you could just pause there in cat, or you could sit back on the heels and just circle the wrists and release the wrists if you want to, if you're feeling anything from that weight bearing. And then coming back up, tucking the toes, and exhale back up into the dog. Make the spine long again, zip in through the lower abdominal muscles, and then we'll begin to stretch the hamstrings a little bit. So as you exhale, invite the right heel just to stretch down towards the mat. And then as you inhale, let that right knee bend, and as you exhale, let the left heel stretch away. So we're stretching alternate hamstrings, which is always a good idea and much more effective than doing one at a time. Lovely. And then next time you stretch the left hamstring, then inhale, take the knees down, sit back and up into kneeling position, give the shoulders a little shrug, give the wrists a little shake to release the effects of that practice. Very good. And then keeping the left knee on the mat, step the right leg forward. We're going to come into a lunge position, and the hands are going to rest on that right thigh, just this side of the knee joint towards the hip. That's it. And then just see how that feels. If you can go a little bit deeper, what you do is creep that right foot forward, so the left leg, rather than being vertical, begins to angle forwards. And at the same time, use the hands to keep the spine upright. So as you do this, you're creating a back bend through the left side of the hips. And this is really effective at stretching out the hip flexors. Now, you don't need to know a lot about anatomy to do yoga, but these are quite important muscles that get very short from sitting in chairs a lot. So they tend to be short in many people who work in an office or do a lot of driving or just do a lot of sitting around. So this is an important stretch to hold. We'll be coming back to it several times during the course. And then from here, we're going to take a little hip opener while we're here. So we're going to move that right foot a little bit to the right, and then take both hands down the inside of the right foot and take the hands onto the mat with the arms straight to begin with. You're probably already feeling that in the right hip, and this might be far enough for many of you. But if that's feeling okay, all you're going to do now is, as you exhale, is soften the elbows and just lower the body a little bit further down. And you never know, some of the more flexible people might get their forearms flat on the mat, but it doesn't really matter. You just want to feel that that right hip is opening. And you're doing this really, really mindfully, because you're simply using the weight of your upper body to open that hip. Very good. And to come out of that, we breathe in and straighten the arms, bring the hands back up onto that right thigh, and then bring the right leg back and change to the left side. Remember, you don't want to feel any discomfort in the knees. So if you are feeling, because there's a little bit of additional weight bearing here and it's just through one knee, so you would just thicken the padding for the knee if you're feeling any discomfort. So here we are on the other side, and we're just letting that stretch develop, stretching the hip flexor on the right side this time. And from this side, we can see a little bit more clearly the beautiful curve that Chloe is making with the right side of her body. If you follow the line from her right shoulder down through the hip, down to the knee and the foot. It's like a big C shape. So we can see a lot of lengthening taking place through the front of the hips, the front of the thigh, and up through the front of the body. So again, very, very helpful for counteracting chair sitting and for good posture. Very nice. We'll move that left foot out to the edge a little bit and take the hands down onto the mat. And again, starting with the arms straight and staying here if that's already intense enough. But if you can, as you exhale, softening the elbows and allowing the body just to drop down the inside of that left leg. So a really good indicator is if you can still breathe very steadily and smoothly as you're doing your yoga, then all is well. And if you're overdoing it, it tends to be reflected in the breath becoming a little bit short and uneven. So unlike gym work or circuit training or HIIT classes, we're not looking to have anything other than a really beautifully controlled breath throughout our yoga practice. Very nice. So letting the arms straighten and then inhaling, coming up onto that left thigh, scooting that left foot back and then just sliding the hips back one last time into resting pose, and then we're going to come up to standing. So we don't need the blanket now, and I think we'll get Chloe still to face the short edge of her mat, and we're coming into a warrior position with the right foot forward and the left foot back, and the feet hip width apart or even a little bit wider. We won't turn the back foot out very much though, so you can turn that back foot in and have the hips facing the front of the mat as well. That's great. And then we're going to bring the hands together in front of the chest. And then breathing in, we're going to open the arms and come into a little bit more of a back bend. That's perfect. Draw the elbows back, lift the chest, take the gaze up, don't throw the head back. That's perfect. And then exhale, bring the palms back together in front of the chest. Let's do that 2 more times. We're going to keep the right knee in a lunge position. So just bending the right knee a little bit more and then holding it there. Perfect. Breathing in, opening the palms, drawing the shoulders back. This is building on the back bend work we just did in the lunge, but now involving the upper body and the shoulders. Inhale, opening up. And exhale, and then changing legs. I'm going to do that on the left side. So palms together and breathing in, opening the shoulders, opening the heart, lifting the gaze. Exhale, bringing the hands together. And 2 more times. Really feel like you are creating loads of space in the front of the body on that inhale, feeling the lower ribs lift, finding that back bend in the upper back to go with the back bend work we did in the front of the thighs. Fantastic. And then switching back to the right leg, and we're going to do something a little bit more dynamic with this warrior. This is kind of our main pose for the first class. So this time we're going to let the arms hang down beside the body. And as we breathe in, we're going to turn the shoulders out, turn the palms out, and sweep the arms all the way up overhead. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold forwards over that right leg and wrap the arms around the thigh. That's the exhale position. As you inhale, unwrap the arms and come back up to high warrior. And as you exhale, bending forwards and wrapping around the thigh. Perfect. Just carry on with that for a couple more breaths. And we're trying to feel that nothing moves from the hips down. So the legs are very strong. The stretches are taking place in the back of the left calf, the front of the left thigh, And that right leg, the muscle is being built up around the knee joint as you hold it in that lunge. And then the upper body has this beautifully willowy, elegant movement up and down. And the arms, we call this practice the wings of the bird, as the arms, like a big bird's wing, flap up and down and wrap around that leading leg. So just once more on the right side. And then breathing and coming up, and exhale, release the arms down, step the right leg back, and just give the arms and the legs a little shake before you do the other side. Notice how that feels. You can always go a little bit deeper when you've done these practices a few times. You can take a slightly bigger stride, but it's more important to just feel that you're working rather than pushing your limits. So holding the left knee now in the lunge position and breathing in, sweeping the arms up, and breathing out, forward folding, wrapping the arms around that left thigh. That's great. So Chloe's showing us a perfectly good lunge. You could go a little bit deeper in the lunge, but what you don't want to do is take that knee any further forward than the ankle. So over the ankle or just behind it, as Chloe is showing us, is exactly what we want to see. So we'll just do a couple more on this left leg to repeat a similar number on each side. So let's say the next one is the last one. And this time reaching up, and then exhale, step the legs back, release the arms down, give the arms and legs a little shake. And then facing the long edge of the mat, facing forwards now. Our last pose in this first class is a little balance. We're going to keep it nice and simple. It's a variation on the tree. So the arms are going to go away from the body, palms facing outwards, and just about shoulder height or a tiny bit higher. So actually palms can face upwards. Perfect. So light and just quite soft at the elbows so the shoulders don't get tired. And then at the same time just softening the right knee so you feel the weight shifting into the left standing leg. And then when you're ready, rotating the right knee out and just resting that right heel on the top of the left foot. So really a really simple version. We'll do some more challenging balances as we move through the course. And we're just going to take 5 breaths here on each side. So if you're really experienced at yoga and you normally take the foot up the leg, don't let me stop you. We are going to get there in a future class, but feel free to do that now if you want to. Lovely. And then on the next exhale, releasing the arms, releasing the foot down, and just move the feet, move the body, wriggle the shoulders. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So arms coming out, palms facing upwards, soft shoulders, shoulders dropping down the back, palms facing to the ceiling, shifting the weight into the right leg as you soften the left knee, and then turning the knee out and finding your balance. So every time you do balance, if you can breathe really steadily and also fix your gaze, maybe on a mark on the floor or something like that, that will really help to steady you. And if you're having a bad day for balancing, just come into a modified version, or stand near a wall, or have a chair handy that you can grab onto. And then exhaling, releasing the hands and the foot down. We're just going to invite Chloe to take a little forward bend here. You can take a little forward bend with the knees fairly soft. So this is just a closing posture and bringing us back to the midline of the body after doing the tree pose. And then coming down to lying on the mat. So each of these classes is going to end with just a 2-minute relaxation, which is guided. And of course, working at home, you could carry on and relax for a lot longer than that. It's really important that you do both that initial centering and the final relaxation. So for final relaxation, we'll have the feet towards the edges of the mat, slightly wider than hip width apart, with the thighs rolling outwards, and then rolling the shoulders back and down, palms facing the ceiling, arms about a foot away from the body. And then breathing in, just tense the right leg, no need to lift it off the floor. And breathing out, relax the right leg. And breathing in, tense the left leg. And breathing out, relax the left leg. Breathing in, tense the right arm. And breathing out, relax the right arm. Breathing in, tense the left arm. And breathing out, relax the left arm. And then breathing in, just squeeze and tighten the muscles of the face for a second, and exhale, relax the face. And then let your body be still, be comfortable. If you get at all uncomfortable, just change position. That's absolutely fine. And allow yourself just to be with your breath, noticing all the sensations in your body as you take these few moments to integrate all the benefits of your yoga practice and allow all your muscles, joints and body systems to come back into balance. And then to come out of relaxation, just deepen your breath, move the fingers, wriggle the toes, and then take the arms overhead and stretch in any way that feels good. And then bending your knees, rolling onto your side. And then coming back up to sitting. And enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next class. Thank you.